Hey, what's going on, CoinOpTV subscribers? Robert Welkney here. In this video, I want to talk about For All Mankind Episode 6, which is called Home Again on Apple TV Plus. Now, if you guys are brand new, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, CoinOpTV. I've been reviewing some of these Apple TV Plus shows and these Disney Plus shows on my YouTube channel. It's kind of the thing now that I'm doing. I'm trying it out, testing the waters, and I'm doing it because I want to, get the conversation, the dialogue open. I want to get my thoughts out on the shows, hear your thoughts, read the comments, respond. I got a lot of criticisms from my video last week talking about For All Mankind because I said the show had bad CGI. I was mainly talking about the landing on the moon. I thought it kind of looked like a really rushed CGI thing. I still feel that way, and in this episode we really didn't get a whole lot of CGI to really compare, but when they do show sort of stuff going on the moon, it does look like an old screensaver from Windows 98 or something, and doesn't really impress me. So I'm sticking with that for now, but I appreciate your feedback. So let me get started. I got my show notes here, some bullet points, some things I want to talk about with For All Mankind Episode 6. So we got spoilers, so you've been warned. So we jump ahead to 1974. That's what the show does. It just kind of skips over moments, skips over years, months, weeks, people's lives, generations, and things are on full speed. I really don't understand the intention of the producers or the writers of the show. They just seem to want to kind of skip ahead and kind of forget a lot of things that could have been dramatic and really interesting to the show. But I don't know, if you're watching and you just want like a montage of things that's happening in a series of events, maybe that's your cup of tea. I'm finding this show not to be one of my favorites on Apple TV Plus at all. I do like C, and I did like Dickinson a lot. Those are the two that I did like a lot. So anyway, Ed, Gordo, and Danielle are up on the moon inside the Jamestown base doing some research. And that's all cool. They're up there hanging out and doing their thing. And we're getting prepared for the next Apollo 23 shuttle, which unfortunately a disaster happens. It explodes. We don't really know we get a little introduction of who's on board, but it's not like any of the main characters or something like that, so the dramatic consequences of that isn't as featured. But Gene, one of the guys who's the director of the Space Center there, actually perishes, who's been in a few of the episodes, so that's kind of the dramatic hook there. That one of the characters we know about is passed away. Of course, 12 people on the ground passed away, and the astronauts actually survived because the pod auto-ejected, and they just had some injuries, but they survived. When I was a kid, I remember the Challenger, I think it was called, exploded when the teacher went up in space there, was going to be the first teacher in space or something. I'm forgetting her name. Kind of got my notes in front of me. I didn't write that down. But kind of reminded me of that happening and the impact, but I wish we would have just seen like a little more of the astronauts. We didn't even get a shot of them boarding the shuttle. The only shot of them we got was them laying in there, and then we did get to see a few of the workers kind of talking, but I felt like they could have, squeezed some juice out of that and actually milk that for a little more, so that when it did explode, we did get like more of an emotional impact on this. But that's kind of the way For All Mankind goes. It's kind of like the MTV of Apple TV Plus, where it's just like, okay, we just need to go, we need to make things happen, check up a box, and move forward to the next scene, and rapid fire. And that's kind of the way the first half of this episode is. Now, that's my negative, but the positive is when you get to the second half of the show, man, it really slows down. We get some good dialogue scenes, or we get some good one-on-one personal scenes with a couple of the main characters there. And that's when the show really becomes interesting, when we kind of dive in. And this is kind of what I was saying also about the morning show, episode 6, is the beginning of the first 15-20 minutes is like rapid fire, and then boom, we slow down and we get to the heart of the episode. And in a way, I kind of wish these maybe were shorter, so we didn't get the rapid fire and we just got the meat and the heart. But I don't know. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below if you like the pacing. But let me get back on track here, because I'm rapid firing this little review. So the FBI shows up and they're like, hey, we want to point the fingers at the Russians, the Ruskies, the KGB, the Soviets, all those things that we used to be against in the 70s and the 80s. But now, hey, everybody's in love. We're all one big happy Earth planet right now. But this is, show set in the well, we're in the 70s now, 74. So they're trying to interview some of the people and find out what's going on. We find out that the Soviets have actually set up their own little base on the moon next to the US base, next to the Shackleton crater, so that everybody's gonna be swirling around this crater there, hopefully making some snow cones and enjoying some of that fresh water that's inside the crater there. We found out in the last episode. Apparently they're not allowed to communicate with each other because, that would be non-political interest, or whatever the phrase would be, a conflict of interest there. So it's kind of cool. I think it's kind of funny. I almost wish that there would have been more nations that had space programs, so they could have showed like a picture of the crater with India and China and Japan, like all these bases around there. Of course, it's a fictionalized show that's trying to be based on facts or at least something, so they're not going to go too extreme, but that would have been sort of a funny thing there. So Tracy Stevens, my favorite character on the show, has a little bit of a small role in this episode. A couple episodes ago, I said that she's my favorite character in the show. She should be the lead. She's one of the more interesting actors on the show, and unfortunately, she's been sort of demoted to kind of second tier, and that's a drag. But we do get to see some of her interacting with Gordo via Skype there, the moon Skyping that seems to work great, and we get some of that going on, so that's cool. And she also has her son, Gordo's son, and her son that's in trouble at school. There's a little side story with that, so we'll see. Parenting is hard when your husband is busy up on the moon and you're single mom taking care of things. I understand that. There's a big long scene later in the episode. This is kind of like when things kind of calm down and we relax with Margo and Von Braun, who I thought Von Braun was actually written out of the show. I was kind of a surprise to see him back. He tells Margo about her father and his mysterious background and some of their underground research that they had going on, hinting at like some atomic bomb research and stuff like that. Eventually we get to kind of the meat of the heart of Von Braun's story to Margo and why he wanted to meet up, and he believes that the Apollo 23 actually blew up because there was somebody changed the where they buy the parts for the manufacturer, some of the construction elements are there. We also get to see a nice scene with Jodi Balfour's character Ellen and her female lover, and we get to see some of them in their room kind of talking about the pressures of the FBI investigation, and also just society in general, about being female lovers. And that's sort of interesting. I'd like to see more of that kind of put on screen or something like that, but it seemed like that was kind of a little bit of a backbone of the episode. We'll kind of see if that becomes more and more in light. I'd like to see more of Ellen kind of in the NASA research and really seeing her reaction to how people are treating her and her hidden secret. There should be more of that. And, we've got plenty of time. This is 8 or 10 episodes of the show. So we have time to expand upon that. Please don't blast through some of those important topics and issues. So again, first half of the episode, first 25 minutes or so, rapid fire pacing, not so much into it, but later on in the episode, I started to get a little more drawn in and sucked into kind of things going on. I never quite know what's going to happen in the next episode because of these time jumps and stuff like that. So who knows? Are we going to jump in? Is the next episode going to jump into like the 80s? Are we going to be, different president? What? We got to see, we went from Nixon to one of the Kennedys there. Will we go to the Reagan era or something? So you guys will have to let me know in the comments below. I read your comments. I appreciate it. If you guys are brand new, please subscribe, hit the bell, like, comment, all that jazz for CoinOpTV. We'll see you guys next time.